Hi, I'm Maya from Bookworm Dreams and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to talk about my Orilium Magical Readathon TBR. So for you who don't know, Orilium is a month-long readathon that's happening twice a year, once in April, second time in August, and basically it is a magical readathon in which you are supposed to create your character and put it through paces in their magical schooling for whatever profession they decided to study. I will leave the link to the announcement video down below so you can check it out. This readathon is created and hosted by G from Book Rose. The character I created is a dwarf from Catador, I think. So far in this readathon, my character has achieved the ranking of novice in her profession, and that profession is Scribe. And this year, I'm continuing on with the Scribe profession. You can change professions each year if you want to. I've decided to continue on with the profession of Scribe, but I also wanted to somehow acknowledge and honor my character's dwarven heritage, and I decided to add another profession. So I'll start over with a new profession, and that would be Craftsmage. So my character, apparently, other than being like a librarian type of character, but like the TV movies librarians, she also wants to build things, so that's what we're going to study for. So I have 8 books on my TBR, so it should be interesting. Let's just go through the prompts for the Scribe profession. So I have 5 classes that I have to attend. I guess the first one is Elemental Studies. The prompt is Botanic Controls, which means I have to read books that has flowers on the cover. Now for this readathon, I decided to just take books from my to be read shelf so that I can, go through the books that I've bought and haven't read yet. So the book that fits this prompt that I own is The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Shuri, or Suri. Sorry. So if you can see, there are leaves here, and I'm counting these as flowers, and in the background there's some like greenery and stuff. So I'm taking this as flowers, and I'm going to read this. What I know about this, that this is a queer fantasy romance thingy, so I'll just tell you what it says in the back. Trapped by her despotic brother within the crumbling walls of an ancient temple, Princess Malini dreams of vengeance. Meanwhile, my maidservant Priya, forced to disavow her power and her birthright because of her past, dreams of freedom. In a world beset by wild magic and turbulent uprising, their destinies will become irrevocably tangled, and together they will set the empire ablaze. So yeah, I'm reading this for that prompt. The second class I have to pass is Inscription, and the prompt is Glyph Flight. And for that I have to read a book from my top shelf. Now, you can't see it right now because it's over there, but on my top shelf I do have a tower of books that I have borrowed from other people, and so I picked books from that. And for this prompt I picked Blacklands by Belinda Bauer. This is a book I borrowed from Christina many moons ago. I haven't read it yet. So what I know of this is that this is a crime thingy. So it says here, Dear Mr. Avery, I'm looking for WP. Can you help me? Sincerely, some person. He was only 12. He reasoned he couldn't be expected to get stuff like writing to serial killers right the first time. So yeah, I borrowed this, I remember, because when she read it in a day. It's a quick read, so I'm counting on this to be a quick read, so I don't like stretch it for a whole week to read, because I have a bunch of books to get through this month. So yeah, that's the book I'm going to read for this prompt. The next class is Spell and Incantation, and for that class the prompt is Spell, Magic, Missiles? I don't even know what I wrote here. Anyway, so the prompt is to read a book between 389 and 415 pages, and it took me a while, but I found one, and that is This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. It has 410 pages, right? So this is book 1 in her duology, something, I don't know what it's called. So basically, I'm just telling you what it says in the back. I got this, oh my god, when I started book 2, like 4 years ago. And I still haven't read it. So yeah, Kate Harper and August Flynn are the heirs to a divided city, a grisly metropolis where the violence has begun to create real and deadly monsters. All Kate wants is to be as ruthless as her father, who lets the monsters roam free and makes the inhabitants pay for his protection. Okay. August just wants to be human, as good-hearted as his own father, but his curse is to be what the humans fear. So I guess he's the monster. The thin truce that keeps the Harker and Flynn families at peace is crumbling, and an assassination attempt forces Kate and August into a tenuous alliance. But how long will they survive in a city where no one is safe and monsters are real? Alright, sounds interesting. The next class is Restoration, and the prompt is Oculi Cures, I think. So the prompt is to close your eyes, shuffle, and point. I think this would be easier done if you have a person with you to help you with this. I don't have a person here with me, but what I do have is a jar. So I made a book jar with all the sequels that I have to get to. Not all the sequels. I have a bunch of book series that I'm like in the middle of and I'm not reading. So I made this book jar thingy that I can just, when the fancy strikes, I can pick one from the jar and just read the sequel to whatever series, you know, this is. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to like pick one book from this, and that will be like for that class. All right, so I am, all right, run paper. All right, so, oh, 2 papers, 1 paper. It says here, come on, The Lessons Never Learned by Rob J. Hayes. Oh my god, so cool. Right, so this is book 2. I do not know the name of the series, but the first book was Along the Razor's Edge, which I loved, really enjoyed. So basically this is a dark fantasy in which we follow, oh my god, what is the girlie's name? She's 15 years old, she has incredible magic, and she ends up losing, or her side ends up losing this giant war that they're part of, and she ends up in a prison planet. So in the first book we follow her without her magic in this prison planet, very young, trying to survive, make allies, and escape. And it was really interesting and good, and I loved it. And I'm looking forward to getting to the sequel in April, and it's gonna be so good. Yay! I'm so happy about this choice. All right, and the last class for Scribe I have to do is Lore, and the prompt is The Legend of Dia. So I have to read a book with a map, and for that I picked another sequel, which is, oh my god, so Half a World by Joe Abercrombie. This is book 2 in his half a something, I don't know what those series is called. So basically this is his like YA series in which we follow, I don't know the guy's name. I think I will have to like skim through the first one to remind myself. I know we follow a young boy. He's around 15, I believe. And he's sort of shunned by his family because he has a stump arm or something. Something's wrong with him, like physically, and that's why he's sort of shunned by his family and he's going to be passed over to become, because he's like the heir, but he's going to be passed over for his like younger brother or whatnot, who I think is a complete like spoiled brat, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. So he's also been they tried to get rid of him by killing him, but he survives and then goes on this journey to like get his throne back. And yeah, this is the sequel to the first one, Half a King, and I'm looking forward to continuing on with this series because I do have the whole trilogy on my shelf. So you know, it's time to finish this. Okay, and now let's go through the books that I have to read for the Craftsmage profession. Thankfully, there are only 3 prompts for this one, so let's just get through them. First one is Inscription, so I have to read a book from the top shelf, the same as in the previous one. So I picked another book that I borrowed from Christina, and that is Metastase by Alen Bovic. So this is a book by a Croatian author. I borrowed this from her because a couple of years ago I read another book by this author. I believe it was called Mesos der Vegetarianac. Ili Ljudoš der Vegetarianac, Ljudoš der Vegetarianac. So cannibal vegetarian, something like that, if you would translate it. So I leafed through this book because I couldn't find a summary and I'm too lazy to go on Goodreads to read about it. So this book is sort of set like as a, how would you say, a notebook. See, it has like lines that the author wrote in, and there are many pictures. And from what I could gather by leafing through this book is that we follow a group of people who I think they are dealing with addiction. So yeah, I think, and we follow a bunch of them. See, there's like a picture of 4 little boys following, I think, a bunch of them as they deal with their addiction and whatnot. I'll probably tell you more when I read it. I think this will be a quick read because the font is bigger and there's lots of pictures. See, something like that. So yeah, that's for that prompt. Then the next class is Artificery. Is that, how do you pronounce that? I have no idea. Anyway, the prompt is Conduit Enhancement, and I have to start a book with a snack. So I was debating whether do I just pick one of the books I already have or should I have another book for this prompt. So I decided I'm going to have another book and actually take a book that will fit for the year-long adventure thingy that I'm taking part in, also part of the Orilium Readathon. So with each month you get a little prompt that you have to read. And since I didn't have the prompt for February, I had to pick another book for the same prompt. The prompt for that February was to read a book that has buildings on the cover. And since I didn't have my first one, I picked the second one, and that is the Imaginary Corpse, Tyler Hayes. As you see, many buildings in the background. In this book, we follow this toy Triceratops, who lives in a world where all the other abandoned toys live. And he is a detective, as you can tell by his trench coat, and he is solving the murder of some toys. That's all I know, and that will be the book for this prompt. And the last prompt is spells and incantations to read a book between 389 and 415 pages. So I picked Retribution Falls by Chris Wooding. Now, I believe this has 398. That's good. So it fits the prompt. This is a steampunk fantasy in which we follow Darian Frey, a roguish captain of the Kenny J, this thing, and the leader of a small and highly dysfunctional group of layabouts. Frey and his gang run contraband, rob airships, and generally make a nuisance of themselves, all the while avoiding the coalition Navy frigates. A hot tip on a cargo freighter seems like a great chance for a simple heist, but when the robbery goes awry and the freighter explodes, Frey suddenly finds himself public enemy number one, with both the coalition navy and hired bounty hunters after him, and so on and so on. So I started this book. As you can see, I have some notes, but I got to page 26 and then I stopped. Not because I didn't like it, because this was a time when I was like, I'm having a difficult time reading physically, so I do better with audiobooks. And I do have an audiobook for this, so I'll probably read it with audiobook and follow along in this one as well. So these are all the books for this readathon. I hope you all will join. If you have read any of the books that I have and you want to share your thoughts, please do so down below in the comments. There are some links in the description box for you to check out, so please do that. If you like this video, press the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!